Hey guys, this is Adam, the small cap investor, sitting here with Bryan Slusarchuk, who is the CEO of GPAC, formerly known as Fosterville South, now called Great Pacific Gold Corporation. So the company's gone through a pretty exciting transformation recently, and we're here with Bryan to talk about what's ahead for GPAC. Firstly, I guess, Bryan, tell us why this transaction is so transformational for Fosterville South or GPAC.
Sure, absolutely, Adam, and thanks for chatting on this. The transaction to acquire this ground in Papua New Guinea is indeed transformational for the company. Great Pacific Gold was formed around a great land package in Victoria, Australia, a land package that we still retain and have still been working on. In the meantime, over the past several months, we've been working on acquiring a large package of properties in Papua New Guinea. The land package totals in excess of 2,100 square kilometers, and this includes more than 600 square kilometers to the southeast of the K92 mining tenements and approximately 130 square kilometers to the northwest. The project to the northwest is quite interesting in that the main targets are less than 10 kilometers from the K92 mine itself. And this 2,100 square kilometers is a combination of exploration licenses, exploration license applications, and we've got a whole host of mineralization styles there that our team in Papua New Guinea is ready to attack on the ground.
So that's amazing. So you guys are right next door to K92 mining with one of your properties up.
Yes, actually, two of the properties are adjoining the K92 tenements, and this is, again, to the southeast and also to the northwest. And then there's an additional project within Papua New Guinea that we're very excited about as well. I would guess that most of the initial attention, because of our track record within the country, will be on those projects next door to K92.
Oh, that's amazing. And speaking of your track record, you've had quite a history in PNG. KNT, K92 has been extremely successful, and I know you quarterbacked a lot of that success. So can you kind of tell us about your background in PNG and how your success at K92 potentially could translate here with Great Pacific Gold?
And Papua New Guinea has been a great place for myself, for my family, for many of our shareholders. I was a co-founder and former president of K92. I was a president and director from the inception of the company all the way up through cash flow, positive operations, commercial production. The fellow that has really driven the wealth creation for shareholders on K92 is John Lewins, who many of the people listening today will know. John's the CEO of K92 and has just done a remarkable job, not only on the ground in PNG, but corporately. And I just can't say enough good things about John. We're very fortunate on GPAC, on Great Pacific Gold Corp, to have John as a director. And people might also recognize a couple of news releases back when we first announced that we were looking at these assets in PNG was that the QP on the news release was Chris Muller, who of course is the exec VP of K92. So I think as a group, we know Papua New Guinea, we've had experience there, and we're just really excited to be in this country that many of us love, and with a new opportunity. And it's an opportunity in a country that's known as the land of giants in mining. And it's known as the land of giants for good reason. There have just been multiple world-class, high-grade, large, sizable deposits in Papua New Guinea found. So to get out at this micro-cap stage, a relatively small amount of shares issued with a strong treasury, and to, again, be able to explore in Papua New Guinea and attempt to create shareholder wealth, it's an exciting juncture for GPAC.
No, that is exciting. And I know K92 is one of the highest grade mines, I've ever seen. And it does seem like an area that exhibits really high grade mineralization. So exciting that you guys are right there, right next door. So are you guys going to kind of hit the ground running? Can you give us like a sort of schedule in terms of, the acquisition closing, drilling? Are you really going to start full speed ahead or what's going on there?
Sure. People investing always look to be in early, being on the ground floor. Well, we've just today announced the closing of the transaction in Papua New Guinea. So this is literally my first interview post-closing of this transaction in PNG. So it's very early days, but we have a real advantage here in that the private co that had these projects, that assembled these projects, that private co raised in excess of $4 million, has spent money, invested money in Papua New Guinea over the last couple of years, and they've done a lot of work. They did a big airborne geophysical survey. They did groundwork, geophysical work, geological work, etc. So these targets have now been advanced to the stage where they're exciting targets, they're big targets, they're drill ready, and we're able to get there. We can hit the ground running without having to do a lot of that basic initial field work because that's been completed. That science, that work on the ground has been completed. And many of these targets within this 2,000 square kilometer plus land package are drill ready targets.
Oh, that's awesome. Instead of starting from nothing, you guys already have, kind of a blueprint to work with. Seems like they've done a lot of groundwork already. Speaking of, you guys have a pretty strong cash position currently. Are you looking to finance, to fund any of this future work that's going to be required, or are you guys good for that?
Well, it's a great question, and all of us know about some good opportunities out there in the mining space. There are a lot of great targets around the world. Because of market conditions, a lot of these great projects around the world are within vehicles that need cash, and they need cash now. The market has been tough, as we all know, in the junior mining equities, and a lot of these companies have to raise money right now. We're in the really fortuitous spot that we don't have to raise money. As of our recently filed financials, we had in the neighborhood of $14 million in cash.
Wow.
The private company, upon a takeover, has in the neighborhood of $1 million, $1 million in cash. So you've got an entity with approximately $15 million in cash. So we don't need to raise money. And on top of the geological endowment that we believe we have, on top of our track record of shareholder wealth creation within Papua New Guinea, we think what makes this really unique, and those are very unique attributes, but what makes this really unique is that we're cashed up with no need to finance these upcoming exploration activities.
No, that's great news. I know a lot of companies aren't in that, kind of fortunate position, especially considering this market environment. So it's very comforting to know that you guys are fully funded for the work that needs to be done here. I guess one last thing would be with Fosterville South, prior to the changeover, you guys were working, doing some work in Australia. What is the plan for those assets? I know it's very prime real estate over there, but it's quite expensive to drill. What are you going to be doing with those assets moving forward?
Sure. I think that given today's news about Papua New Guinea, given our track record in Papua New Guinea, given the fact that we have a lot of shareholders that have done so well in Papua New Guinea via K92, I think a lot of the market attention will be, quite understandably, on our PNG assets. At the same time, we've got a great land package in Victoria. Rex Motton, our COO, is a local guy in Victoria, has had a jump start on a lot of the activity in Victoria over the past few years. And we think, like you say, we have prime real estate. We've advanced some of the projects quite nicely, and we think we've advanced the projects technically and from a scientific basis. We think we've got some amazing targets to drill there. And we do intend to drill some of these targets where we're chasing very high grade. Everybody that knows Victoria knows the high grade nature of the geology there. For now, though, I think most market attention, and we've got a great roster of institutional shareholders, some very successful mining entrepreneurs from other companies as investors. We've got a good retail base. But for Great Pacific Gold, I believe that the market attention and the attention of those institutional and retail shareholders will be on PNG. But we also believe there's real potential in Victoria. So to have this within a good share structure in a cashed-up vehicle emerging from what's been a downtime in the mining equities, we're just in a really fortunate position, and we think we've got serious potential to reward shareholders. And I always look at these exploration situations, they have risk. So when you take a look at exploration, I think you want to make sure the reward is big. You're taking risk, make sure that reward is big. And I think everybody here knows that in Papua New Guinea and in Victoria, but notably in Papua New Guinea, you've got some of the biggest potential upside in the world. And it's early days, and I think there'll be a lot of excitement about what we're doing in PNG.
I think so too, Bryan. It's an incredibly exciting transformation, and very much looking forward to see what you guys can do down there in PNG.
Great.
Thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with me and explain this, the future here.
Great. Thank you.